What's going on, everyone? Today we're here with Spoken Reasons. Now, many of you who have not visited his channel, make sure you visit his channel on YouTube. He have a very successful channel. He's one of the stories that actually got on the internet and actually made it. He was also in the movie called The Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. He had a role in that movie. I thought it was very funny. I would be good if they'll make a part 2, but we don't know. But we're thankful for having the brother on the program today. So, JB, thank you for joining us today.
Peace. Really appreciate you for inviting me.
Now, JB, can you tell us a little bit how you did it? Because we know that you worked hard to get up to 1 million subscribers on your YouTube channel. And I know from just what we trying to do here, it's not easy to do that, especially with all the hard work. And, you know, if you had to go through some trials and tribulations and, you know, what got you all the way up to where you're at today?
Well, I started doing YouTube around 2008. I was 18 years old in college, and I was going to a community college, and I decided not to do it anymore because I wanted to do spoken word. That's why my name is Spoken Reasons. So I created a YouTube channel called Spoken Reasons, and it was originally a spoken word poetry channel. But I realized at that time that spoken word wasn't a huge platform that could be marketable at the time for me, you know, to monetize. So, you know, being at that young age, I was, you know, exploring my options as far as my talents and my gifts. And then I realized, you know, that comedy was one of my many gifts that I possessed, but I never really took it serious. So when I started uploading certain types of talks and relationship stuff on YouTube, that's when I started getting good feedback. And that's when one thing went to another. And I think everything started taking off around like 2011. That was the last time I had a 9-to-5. I had a 9-to-5 around at-risk kids at a program in Florida. In Florida, what they do is they have different levels of program for kids so they won't send them to prison. So I was at like a level 8 in Orlando, Florida, and that was the last job I had. And then I took that and I just went full blaze with the YouTube, and that's when everything popped off.
So when you decided to, you know what, I'm gonna walk away from the 9-to-5, how did you feel making that decision?
It was tough. It was tough because I know I wasn't making enough at the time to quit my job, but it was a leap that I felt like I had to take. I was probably making around, like at that time, it was probably like $300 a month, but I knew my rent wasn't, I knew that couldn't cover my rent, but as far as that, I can't tell you how it really took off like that. It took off just because of the comedy overall.
So when you actually had that first like surge in subscribers, yeah, and you start getting like all this, you know, new people in your audience, you know, how did that, you know, feel? Because at least on my end, I noticed that when this channel got about 70,000 subscribers, yeah, I noticed, and then ever since from then, it's like this new crowd that come in, and you know how it goes with that new crowd.
Yeah. So how did it get to that point?
Yeah, I mean, like, how did you feel that new surge that came in?
It felt cool. It felt cool when it was coming in, but I felt like subscribers really didn't at that time. Subscribers, it meant a lot. But at that time, I was more worried about the views, because subscribers, I look at subscribers like it's like a bank account full of people that actually subscribe to you and that's there. But deep down inside, you know, I was only focused on just putting out the content that could attract the people outside of YouTube itself. And that's why my videos were going on certain type of blogs and websites and stuff like that, because I was able to reach a platform outside of YouTube, because YouTube is a world of its own. It's only, you know, I'm pretty sure you know, and I know, and a whole bunch of other people know that have channels. YouTube is like its own community. I mean, YouTubers know YouTubers, but when you ask people outside of YouTube, they don't really know. So that was pretty much my aim. So I didn't really worry about subscribers like that. That just came along the way.
Yeah, because a lot of people sometimes ask that question about, oh, but what about subscribers? Like, for me, that's what I tell them. I really don't worry about the subscribers. Sometimes I don't even check it. What I worry about is putting out the next story that I think would be good, because for me, engagement is more important than even the viewership. Because if more people share your video on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, that'll bring in usually a new audience.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because I have 1.9 million subscribers right now, and it's almost at 2 million. And I think we're 8 years later from 2008, so 2016 right now. And my viewership, it doesn't always match my subscribers, and it's a different game now. You have mobiles, you have people all on iPhones and iPads and on your computers and stuff like that. So you have different types of distractions going on, and it's really, again, not even about subscribers, because I know people that have 5,000 subscribers that's getting 20,000 views. So it's really all about what are you targeting.
Correct. And most people don't understand about YouTube is that because from my research, it depends on what genre you're in, but I noticed that you would get probably 5 to 7% in viewership of what your actual subscriber number is, at least from my research on a lot of different channels.
Yeah, that's
you say what?
I said that's true.
Yeah, because you could look at a guy like PewDiePie who got the most subscribers out of everybody.
Yeah,
and he do not get how many. I think he got 30 million or 40 million subscribers. He don't get that in every video, and that's what people don't even understand about that number. So you definitely want to keep putting out a good amount of content, and a lot of times your subscribers they want content daily if you can give it to them.
Yeah, that's true. Especially YouTubers. YouTubers, for some reason, they have to be more consistent than anybody. I would say on any other platform, just because of how it's built. I mean, when you look at it now, I say what's probably getting the most viewership now on YouTube now in 2016. I would say probably the vlogs of people recording their everyday lives, because what it's doing is attracting people that watch TV, and they watch reality TV shows. So, I mean, being consistent with no matter what you do, as far as doing vlogs, skits, whether you're doing daily news, that's what your YouTubers, that's what your people are there for, because it's like modern day television on your screen. People, they don't have time to check into their television sets anymore to check to see what you're doing, because they have options now. So now they can get on their phones and and really check for you. And people don't understand, YouTube is called YouTube. You do whatever you decide to do. If you don't come up with a plan or an agenda for what you want to do Monday through Sunday, then you're going to have problems as far as your viewership and your consistency on there, because that's what it's all about. You create what you want to create because it's your own network, and that's what people don't understand. People worry about these networks and what's going on. It's a bunch of networks that want to go out and grab your channel and put you on board, but they're not understanding that you're your own network. And that's another type of talk that we can get into right now, if you're aware of that. I'm pretty sure you're aware of networks, right?
Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah. So networks today, they're just like record labels. I'm no longer with the network. When I first got on, I was first by myself. I was always an independent person as far as my brand, but at the same time, I had networks hanging over my head that wanted to, take me to another type of platform. Of course, they'll come with all kinds of resources and say, I can do this, I can do that. And I'm not saying anything against anybody, because there are some legit networks out there that can help you if you have a plan for what you want to do. But overall, I would say if you're your own brand, you're your own creator, you might as well create something for yourself and figure out your own infrastructure, because the way everything's going now, they're doing it in a way where YouTubers are now the new rappers. They're the new artists. They're the new Prince. They're the new Whitney Houstons and stuff like that. And we have to be mindful not to give away our platforms and our brand, because these networks, they're only here to sabotage the majority of us. And if you don't try to figure out a way to how to get inside the contract and get your own type of percentage out of the brand or the network itself, then you're going to have problems. So I would say for everybody out there, if you're getting all kinds of emails from networks itself, look into the contract and only see if they can benefit you. Yeah,
because I'll tell anybody that now we, got a part of a network, but we negotiated our own, percentage. And that's really, if you can't go in negotiating and get a good deal out of it, just walk away from it. I tell anybody that. Look, like with our situation, we sitting good. I can't complain about it. And I don't expect, if anybody get involved in a network, don't expect them to do nothing for you. You gotta do it yourself. Just only thing I noticed with the network versus by myself, let's say before I had got a part of one, was they kind of get, I got exposed to a lot more with the platform. That's about it. But it's still dependent on you. They can't do nothing for you. I see people join networks and like, they didn't do nothing for me. I'm like, well, how is it this guy's a part of the same network and yet he's doing this? It's like, it's a difference with you, not with them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's all about how you go into utilizing how you want to create your brand and put it out there. For some people, it's beneficial. For some people, it's not. It's just really all about, picking and choosing what's right for you. It's all about your situation.
Yeah, and read your contract if you're part of that. Read it if you got ownership. Read it all, because don't just sign something just to be a part of something. Now, I mean, whether you get a car or whether you get a house or whatever it may be, read. Because a lot of people get so screwed because they didn't read.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Make sure you get your lawyers too if you ain't got them.
Exactly. Now let's talk about just the climate itself here in America, and even in relation to doing YouTube. We noticed that at least from 2008, to say at least when you started, to now, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
and so how is your audience responding to the climate in America from when you just basically to have fun online to now it's serious as hell now? I mean, it's like real now.
My audience, the way they respond to it, they have to understand I'm still a work in progress. So one, I'm still young. I started YouTube when I was 19 years old. I'm 27 now, and I still have a youthful appearance. So everyone, I looked at an interview what David Banner said at a radio station. He said everybody's going to be a walking contradiction because you're going to grow, and that's true. So my content has never been coonery type of content. I would put things out there to make people laugh and hee hee ha ha. But at the end of the day, I had dark comedy substance. Dark comedy is basically comedy with substance. It's like Chris Rock type of comedy, or Eddie Murphy or something like that, or Paul Mooney. But now I'm at a point where I feel it's a bigger picture. My whole goal from the jump was to grab a large mass of people, but also make sure I'm feeding them the right things. My whole thing was I didn't want to go too far into the industry or into Hollywood for my own good. I feel like some people, what they can do is they can be here today and they can be gone tomorrow. And that's only because a lot of these people, these child stars, I would say child stars in particular, because they start so young that when you're going too ahead of yourself, you don't have enough time to catch up as far as maturity and growth. And I feel like I was going through that point as well. So when people get the shift and not understanding it, even though I understand that my biggest brand is comedy, I still have those fans around. My whole thing was just being consistent, and that was it. The only thing I liked was just the consistency. The way they're taking it right now, they'll take it, but also I just kind of keep it balanced with the comedy.
Correct, because people don't understand that in life we all grow, and let's say some videos I probably made in 2012, 2013. I probably wouldn't even make those videos today or even have those opinions. Now, some things I've made in the past that say, "Ooh, I wouldn't agree with that today," but I think it's good to leave it up because it shows your progress, as a human being as you grown and changed. Yeah,
that's true, because when I first started, I didn't have a child. I have a one-year-old child right now. A lot happens in between the time. And overall, like I said, I only wanted to help my people. And I feel like now I'm on a level where I feel like I can reach people and I can walk up to a young man or a young woman and I can say certain things to them that could help them go to the next level. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about just empowering my people at this point. And I've always been for that. Before I started even doing YouTube, I was going to the 33rd Street Jail in Orlando and I was mentoring kids in the jail. But I stopped doing that because I got tired of my kids being sent to prison for life sentences, and I couldn't really do anything about it, which is why my last job was at a halfway house in the program, because those kids had a second chance. So my whole mission was to actually gravitate and reach people and install them, with wisdom and stuff like that, what I collected over the years and still collecting to this day. And that's what my whole platform is all about. That's why my name is Spoken Reasons. So people don't understand that I'm always going to put out stuff that'll make you laugh, but I'm going to put out stuff to make you think. So this is just a work in progress.
Now, let me ask you a question. When did you realize that what you say really carries, or you would have to take actual responsibility on what you say? When did you realize that?
I realized that from the jump, but I would say probably in 2013 when the movie came out. When the movie came out, I think that's when I started to really understand that the words that I put out there into the universe can actually come back, and it can help me, it can benefit me, or it could be detrimental to my career, my life. And that's when I started to understand that, because I'm a young man, you know, I put up stuff on Instagram that people don't like seeing, or, you know, they'll be like, wait, I think you're going the wrong way. That's when I started to really understand that these are spirits that I'm really dealing with. I understood that they were spirits from the beginning, but that's when I started to understand, like, look, you have you're a young influencer amongst people, even older people who never even took the step that you took. So that's when I started to really realize that I had to take a step back and just work on myself, and then come back to the forefront, and even, you know, and just say what I got to say for real, and just help people.
Now, at times, was it frustrating that you can't just express yourself like other people can?
Nah, I didn't feel like it was frustrating at all, because I feel like for how I created my career is based off me speaking it anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I've opened up my career to make mistakes. I think it's okay I don't believe in people coming into entertainment. Like, for example, I'm going to use them for example. We know a lot of black people mess with, I don't mess with as well. Justin Bieber, for example. When Justin Bieber first came in, he had a little mushroom haircut, and, you know, throughout his teenage years, people started being like, dang, he has a joint in his hand, or dang, he's dating, or dang, he's hanging around black people. That's only because you didn't know the real Justin Bieber. You didn't know his career was set up for him to not make mistakes. So when you prep up this image of someone being the Mr. Perfect little white male that like all the little white girls that send hugs and kisses, then you see him with a joint in his hand, then he's now set up for the media to be, you know, for a downfall. And I've always put my career in my own hands. I don't want it to be in their hands where they can set me up and say, well, look at him, you know, he's smoking weed, he's doing this, that, and the third. No, I'm gonna make my own mistake. So I feel like that's what I created my platform to be, and that's why I don't really take it back as far as what I say, because I feel like I don't get frustrated at all, because I'm open to do that, and I think people have accepted me, and that's why my name is Spoken Reasons.
So now, all the climate we have right now, we know, with a lot of the police killings, you know, Black Lives Matter, a lot of people, you know, growing and opening their eyes to a new reality in America. How do you feel in regards to, maybe in your position, helping further movements of, you know, social justice, or just awakening the eyes of our people? You mentioned David Banner earlier, how he really doing that now. Mm-hmm. More that he's speaking everywhere. I mean, he's really doing it. How do you feel about, you know, that with your platform?
With my platform, which is why I'm glad you asked that question. You're one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this interview, because you're one of the type of people, especially amongst black people, melanoid people, that can gravitate to people and make them see it from a different point of view. You do what you do, and you're good at that. As far as what I do, I'm going around, I'm doing spoken word and stuff like that now. I'm grabbing a couple of young people along the way, and I'm putting them on my team, and I'm teaching them how to build their businesses, how to build their brands and stuff like that. I can only do what I can do. I feel like everyone has a role to play, but I just don't believe in talking. So a couple of weeks ago, I started something for Korean Gaines children, her 2 kids, and it was just fun, just collecting for their education and their health. So instead of just talking and tweeting and throwing up memes and being upset, I just felt like, why would I do that when there's so many people out here doing that as well? And truth be told, it's not even a truth be told. It just is what it is. It's too many people with large platforms that can influence many people across the globe that's out here just talking. I don't see any work being done. And if I don't see it, if you're doing your thing, then you're just doing your thing. But I just feel like we all have to get off that mindset and just learn how to use our legs and actually walk, instead of just yakking, because we can do that all day.
Correct. You know, I agree with you 100%. It's about the work. And if you know, have the opportunity and you blessed enough, you know, with the resources to do it, you should get out and do it. And that's why I only join myself with people who's actually doing the work. That's why, you know, people see on our platform, Brother Derek Muhammad, but that man highly works hard in the community here in Houston. With Sister Sadia as well, how she's on a platform. She works very hard in the community, and just joining with them, even assisting them on different things. You definitely get a message out to your people. I'm all for doing. I'm not for that. Even like when we promoting the Bank Black movement, we're still promoting that. I'm not just for in the street saying my life matter, and I'm not against nobody. But I want to see some action. I want to see some boycotts. I want to see what Martin Luther King said. Pull your money out of banks, go to the black insurance, do everything you can to support your community. That's what I'm for. 100%. Yeah. I'm not for begging these people for nothing. For what?
Yeah. And I agree. And I feel like, especially people that actually follow me, I feel like my generation is coming along, but at the same time, they could be open to more platforms like yourself and other things that's going on and people that's out here, because there are people and influencers and creators all across the globe online that you can look up that doing their thing. And what they have to realize too is, the viewership, it's not even about you getting 300,000 views or 10,000 views. It's all about who you can impact in the viewership that you get. So if you have 3,000 views, it's all about what you're saying. It's not about you doing all kinds of coon stuff and stuff like that, because those things are what's going to be detrimental to your career. And this is why you see people here today and going tomorrow. So if you're going to be creating, if you're going to be out here helping your melanoid people, make sure that you're doing things and you're not doing anything detrimental to your health, your career, your family, because it's only hurting us at the end of the day.
Now, this is something you mentioned, helping melanoid people. Now, you get to a point, I'm pretty sure you got to that point, where people want you to make a certain decision on what you want to do. For instance, let's talk about me. Okay. When I started, most of my people that watched me and supported me was African American. I can honestly say that. Now you kind of have a mixture of everybody, and which is fine. But some people that come in, why is he always speaking about black stories or black people? Like, well, I complained on people that they got to a certain point, then all of a sudden they just forgot they were black. They forgot black people, black stories, black whatever. So they feel like it's wrong for you to speak up about issues, because the mainstream media don't speak up on black people's stories unless they could either criminalize us, dehumanize us, stereotype us. So what is it we supposed to do? Because people will take offense that you just said that we should help melanoid people.
Well, I would say there's nothing wrong with taking care of home first. There's nothing wrong with taking care of home first. It's just like when you go home to your family. When you go home to your family, you want to make sure that your kids are straight, your mother is straight, your wife, your husband, whatever you got at home, the dog. So I'm doing the same thing as far as my platform. I'm making sure that my people are there first, because truth be told, those are the people that come to my shows. Those are the people that buy my merchandise. I have white fans. I have Asian fans. I have fans of all kinds of races and ethnicities and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm not going to forget the people that come first, and that's my people. In the system of white supremacy, it's race. So if this is a race, I have to follow my race first and protect home. So I don't see anything wrong with that. And if anybody has a problem with that, whether you're in an interracial relationship, whether you're on a job, the job is one thing, or whether you're just talking to someone, just in the middle of the street, it really shouldn't matter to you. So if you feel like it's an issue for me helping my people, then I feel like we shouldn't have to continue on this conversation, because it ain't going to go nowhere.
Yeah, I agree with you, because if you look at every group do that. Whether it's, white, Asian, Hispanic, Jewish, whoever, they take care of home first, just like you said. Then if they can, they would, do whatever else they can. We as black people, we all we got at the end of the day. Yeah. We get killed in the street. It's not a bunch of other groups of people coming out in mass. I'm not saying they don't, but in mass, it's us. No matter how you look at it. If you're making videos, whether you are a man or a woman, propping up another group of people saying they're better than our people, when we're killed in the street, I don't see those people in mass. I'm not saying they don't be there. But who do you see? The black man and black woman. And so since it's all we got, why not try to help each other out?
Yeah, exactly. And I would say to those people that's non-black, if you're gonna be speaking up and making videos on YouTube saying that how much you hate it, help us out by hitting it, by giving us some money. Help us by going inside of your pockets and funding it towards our community instead of just talking about it, because there's too many people talking about it and not enough people that's non-black actually throwing their money and contributing their dollars and their resources to our agenda. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, because we also as black men, and this we black men, we have to also be willing to help each other more, because a lot of times we get to a point as black men and we'll do good, but then we get to an island to ourselves and we get this attitude like, I don't know about him. And we feel like another brother gonna take our position. Yeah, we get highly jealous of each other, and that's something else that we have to stop doing as black men. Yeah, because other groups, they help each other.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and that's why I like Adam Sandler in the comedy game and the Will Ferrells. I watch those guys because they know how to help each other. The Jonah Hill, the Seth Rogen. But when it comes to black people, what they understand, or if they don't understand it consciously, they understand it subconsciously, is that it's one black person at a time. It's one black person at a time in Hollywood. And I think because we're all programmed that way when we watch television. When we watch television, we know that, it might be that we might know, a handful of people that make it to the league, like at the NBA or NFL. But when it comes to entertainment, as far as media or, comedy or acting, we all understand that it's one person at a time. And that's why we're so crab in the bucket. That's why we have that crab in the bucket mentality amongst each other, because we can't stand to see one another rise to the top. So I do agree with you when it comes to that, because there's not enough people that's actually joining hand in hand and making something happen. I would even say, just as far as the comedy game or acting game, like, people have to bring together their resources, and that's why I would have to question people. Like, I don't hate them, I don't dislike them. I'm very inspired by them, but I question people like Denzel Washington and Will Smith, because I wonder why they don't bring together their resources to make a movie. But I understand why they don't as well, because they'll be stepping out of pocket, and it's one person at a time, one black person at a time. And I mean, it sucks, but at the same time, we can't do something about it.
Well, I have an issue with that. Why? Okay, if you made all your money, I mean, shoot, you good. If you manage your finances, you good. Okay. Why is it that we accept one black person at a time? In Hollywood, they don't say, oh, well, one white person at a time. No, They have white people from who you know to who you don't know. Why is it that we can't create our own version of Hollywood? That's my problem. We have enough talent. We have the resources to create that. But yet we always got to sit up there and put up with what you just said about one black person at a time. That's what get me pissed off of black people. It's like we always begging somebody else who's clearly showing you by their actions that they don't want you like that. Yeah. Fine. You can't say, I haven't seen any white people in movies in a while. You can't say that. Why is it should be one black person or one comedian at a time? Why? There's many people out here who's funny. Why can't we create our own stuff? That's all I'm saying.
And I would absolutely agree with you on that. I just think it's that mindset that we're so conditioned to over the years from Hollywood and watching television. I mean, right now, it's millions of people right now watching television, and all they see is people that's probably non-black or on there doing their thing. If they see somebody that's black, then they're like, dang, I want to be like that person. So I would say that it's a work in progress right now. I think right now with the internet and everything that's going on, I think the reason why you see so many crazy viral videos as far as negativity amongst black people, the reason why you see those things is it's just there for us to see the mistakes and see that we shouldn't do those things, and teach our children, hey, you shouldn't do those things. So I feel like the internet generation that's getting burnt, because I come from the AOL dial-up generation. So I feel like my generation, we would do things that the Chief Keef generation wouldn't do. And I feel like when they get older, their kids are going to know, like, you know what, I'm not going to do that. So I feel like with everything going on as far as the police killing, the police brutality in the middle of the streets of black people dying and stuff like that, I think those are things that we need to see to help us unify and bring it together. And I think that the dominant society, I think they see that, and that's why they're becoming smarter and more strategic when it comes to when it comes to things like the Korean Games situation going on, because they're starting to pick up and see that we're not playing no more and we know how to use our resources. So you can just think that they already have think tanks for these things. They're thinking 20 years ahead. They're thinking that, okay, these guys on social media, they're becoming more conscious, they're waking up. So what do? So they're learning how to blacklist us and know how to like hit the button from behind the computer screen. And one thing that we're not mindful about is that no matter what you put up on the internet, you have to realize that this is true too. Entertainers can actually, their viewership can fall off too, because all it takes is somebody from the dominant society to hit the button and that's it. So these things are real. I hope people can just be mindful of things like that. It's not just free game where you can just tweet whatever you want, say whatever you want, and just, you know, think that there ain't no repercussions and there ain't no consequences. There's somebody behind the computer that's watching you. So just be mindful of that.
Yeah, and especially if you're dependent on them like that. Like for us, you know, we only talking about what we see in reality. So, you know, one thing I like about the internet is that's the only place I can honestly say that, you know, racism can't really touch you as much as they would like it to. Okay. Yeah. And the reason why I say that is, look at us. If the way I talk, they wouldn't put me on network television on CNN to have a show. Hell no. they wouldn't dare do it. So we are thankful for the internet. There's many other people that's on the internet. They wouldn't put them on network television. Yeah. You know, so, you know, the internet is a place. Even we were talking about the Hollywood thing earlier. You can create movies and put it out. You can create comedy shows and put it out on the internet so much where I think it's one sister had made a series on YouTube and BET ended up picking it up.
Oh, I mean, Issa Rae.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we have so many people that's doing things on the internet, and I tell people that's where it's at. Let them come after you, and then you can negotiate what you want to do. You know, we don't have to beg them no more. That's why I preach to black people. Stop begging. We don't have to beg, because who respects a beggar? Nobody.
Yeah. No.
And as long as we beg, please give me a chance. Please like me. My life matters. Please. Like that's why they treat us like crap. Stop begging. We have enough finances within our community. We have enough talent, people, and they know this. Okay, it's not like they don't know it. Well, let's act like it.
Best believe they know it, because if every black person came together on this planet, it would be over with, and they know that. So I mean, I would definitely suggest that everybody that's online, if you guys are creating anything, if you have a team, if you know someone that does something that's, you know, close to what you do, or whatever you do, whether you're an athlete, whether you're an entertainer, it does not matter. Just learn how to utilize your resources. And just know that you don't need anybody outside of your own unity to make something happen. So just understand that you don't have to beg. And one thing fans and your supporters don't respect is a beggar. And it's a lot of entertainers out here doing that.
Correct. And we have to support our own projects and stuff like that. We just have to do that because, you know, like we doing right now, our crowdfunding for our new studio. You know, if you go to an investor and try to get the money, guess what's going to happen? They're going to control it. I don't want nobody to come in to this and tell me, well, you can't be talking about that because, you know, we did pay for this studio. We did give you this. No. Yeah. No. And that's our problem is a lot of times you understand that as you grow in business, you need certain funds to come in.
Yeah.
You know, so you can grow. Because one thing I noticed, and also another friend on YouTube told me, you know, when you have a lot of times white YouTubers, they get so much money thrown at them and with less subscribers and brand deals. You know, it's like I didn't realize how cliquish it was sometimes with that. And they don't want to let us into that.
It's true. And even if we were into that, they wouldn't even fund us anyway because we're not them. And this is why I've actually went through this. Because while I was making the movie, while I was doing the movie The Heat, I was going back, you know, to my networks and stuff like that. People that was in my circle, you know, that wasn't of my race or whatever. They would actually try to. I was making short films at the time. I was making. I got a huge short film called Adopted White Girl. I got 4 episodes of Relationship Games, and I have Sex and Friendship. And they started to see that I would making content that was movie-like. And one thing that I didn't want to do, I didn't want to sell my content to Hollywood. I wanted to shop my stuff around to people that was of my color who could utilize it and actually, you know, help me build my brand as far as me in Hollywood. And this is why people don't understand when they say, well, how come you haven't been in any more movies? I'm still auditioning. People out here audition every day, but auditioning is just like a 9 to 5. And I would say it's probably worse than actually filling out an application in a normal day of living, of walking life, because it's only 1 out of a million. And this is why people in Hollywood, you don't really hear about them like that, because a lot of them, they either fall back behind scenes and they produce and write, or you just don't see them on camera anymore because you don't know when they're going to hit that button. And that's why I always try to let my fans and my supporters know that you have to support the people, especially someone of your color, to make sure that they can maintain their platform. Because if you don't support them, if you're just watching us on YouTube and you're not funding us and our brand, then how can we keep something growing for you all? And that goes back into that melanoid empowerment. So I feel like what Nate Parker was doing, I think the guy name is Byron Allen. I'm not going to, you know, be too judgmental on his decision, but I would say a smarter decision probably would have been better if he had went with Byron Allen, if that's the guy's name.
Yes, his name.
Because you know, you don't shop your film. I understand when he was doing the whole Nat Turner thing, but you don't shop your film to the dominant society and don't expect for something to happen. And I think everybody who's conscious, they all knew that was coming. So now we can expect anything to happen, all because he gave his script away. He gave his film away. They could do anything to it because you don't technically really own it anymore because it's not in your hand. And this is what all of us have to do. We all have to keep in mind that if you're going to be making your own film, don't just be mindful that if you're going to sell it to them, make sure that everything in that contract goes according to how you want it to go. And even then, it may not go how you want it to go unless you deal with people of your color.
Now, look, you mentioned Nate Parker, and I just made a commentary on my second channel about that. And this one guy who's white came to my channel and made a comment, and I addressed this in the video, but he said it's spot on. He said, well, about the movie, why do we want to see a movie about black people killing white people? We have enough of that going on as it is. I say, oh, there it is. That's it.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
You see my face on that.
Hey, look, exactly what it is. Because, you know, it was okay to have slave movies of black people getting beat. Never say we don't want to see no slave movie because we don't want to see white people doing it to black people. It's going to make them feel bad. We never heard them say we don't want to see black people getting hung in a slave movie because it's going to make black people feel bad. We got too much of that going on. None of that. But when it's a slave revolt movie, oh, no, I don't think. And I knew that was going to happen because of the tensions we have right now. And black people go see Nat Turner. They're like, man, I ain't putting up with this crap either. You know, like that. And they go say, you already fear Black Lives Matter. I mean, I don't know why they fear them, but they do. You know, they fear people speaking like me and you right now. They fear that. You know, they're going to say, oh, they just want to help black people. They're racist. Like, okay, we don't control anything in this country to even hurt you based on skin color. So how is that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they just fear that we're going to do to them what they done to us. That's exactly what it is. I had white folks tell me that verbatim. That's the fear.
I mean, and I can understand that. I mean, you already know they pretty much run everything as far as controlling wealth and everything globally. So when you see people that you're oppressing and they're starting to come together and trying to unify, then of course you're going to be going back to think tanks and start talking about it. And I see that as like a spoiled child, man. Like you can't, I don't know, man. It's just real frustrating when you see people that's actually trying to do something as far as black people, and then when you try to come in and intercept, it's like, really? Like you're already privileged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like that White Lives Matter group that tried to protest here in Houston. Like, really? Like, you oppressed? Please tell me how. You know, and I invited I'm gonna see the guy come on. I invited the guy who led that protest to do an interview because I want to ask him and give him the floor to tell me how he is oppressed. I want him to tell me. I won't interrupt him. I will let him speak. Yeah.
And you know, and they might as well come out and say that. And when you're saying Black Lives Matter, you're talking about all black people anyway. It's just for something for you can hide behind some curtains and say Black Lives Matter. But I'm really talking about all of you Negroes.
Yeah. We said that in a video the other day. Black Lives Matter means all black people. Like, I have no affiliation with Black Lives Matter. I know some people in it, and that's fine. And I take some issue with them, with the leadership of it, not the individuals, because when you have too much money coming into Black Lives Matter, and these people who's giving the money, I say, when have you known a dominant society to give millions of dollars to a group that's going to truly empower us to do for ourselves?
I think this is my opinion, but I think that Black Lives Matter is headed down the same route as the NAACP. I think that years from now, because now I feel like this group of black people, we're so on point that we don't really even have as much respect for the NAACP as we used to. Now Black Lives Matter has came to the forefront, and that's the new funded corporation infrastructure they have going on. So now it's probably going to be like a Black Lives Matter corporation. I don't know, who knows, but I really feel like that's headed down that route. Just like you seen Michael Jordan, he funded $1 million to NAACP and the police department or whatever. I feel like that's what's going to happen later on. You're going to be seeing people fund things to Black Lives Matter, and it's really ran by people in a dominant society. It's not ran by anybody who's black. I don't care what they say. Anytime you have something that big on mass media, going across CNN, Fox, or any type of major media outlet, you always have to question it, because there's not one thing that's all the way 100% pure black owned that's spread it across mass media, and not anything that's 100% pure black owned that you see all white people talking about.
And check this out. And my people, and I also teamed up with Lovely T. We went to do the Million Man March coverage last year. And now you had all these black people on the Capitol steps. That should have been all over CNN, MSNBC, all that other stuff. Does that many people show up in Washington and literally a media blackout?
Yeah.
And that tells you right there, if they was really for, how is it that Black Lives Matter get all this coverage, but when Farrakhan bring that many people out, it wasn't just black folks. I seen white folks out there. I seen Hispanics, Native Americans, all these people out there. You don't cover it. C-SPAN, yeah, maybe TV1 was out there as well, but their cameras was out there. That's the killing part about it. All their cameras was out there because they were waiting for black people to act stupid.
Oh, yeah.
And then they gonna cut them off. Oh, look, the Negroes are tearing up Washington. I had talked to a black cop, like they was ready. Like he told me, look, the FBI's out here, CIA out here. He telling me all who was out there in hiding, literally, and to watch if black people gonna act stupid, and yet they didn't do anything wrong. They were itching for it to happen.
Yeah, that's what they're waiting for. That's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for. I mean, they'll always have the C's and the recorders going, just waiting for us to act up, because they know that they can benefit and monetize off of our negative behavior. But anything positive that's pushing us to the next level and making us evolve, they don't want that to be spread amongst their people, because then it's not going to do them any good. So what I would say is, could you even imagine what it would be like if a typical redneck in Milwaukee or Florida or Georgia or Alabama, if that came across their television set? Could you just imagine any person that's white, if they were in like a small town, because the majority of the cities in every state, they're all a small country town, the majority of them. So if you just go into their mind, if they were to see stuff like that on television, just imagine how they would react. It will be something new that we will all witness the next day when we walk outside our house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and also too, and I was just referring to that, they were so dirty, and I figured that junk out. They shut all the cell phone communication down just in that area of when they had the meeting at and everything. But the moment Farrakhan finished speaking, all the cell phones start working again. Like they were ready. They were ready. They start killing us out there. They don't want you live streaming nothing. I mean, that's how serious it was out there, bro. I mean, so I get it. So with Black Lives Matter getting all the money, like we're saying, and George Soros Open Society Foundation gave $33 million. Now they're about to get another $100 million. I'm like, and yet we're not seeing it in the community. Where's the small business loans to help black people open up businesses in our community? Are they trying to stop the gentrification in our communities? See, those kind of questions is what I ask of the leadership, not of the individuals who just passionate about black lives.
Yeah, and that's true. That's true. I absolutely agree with all that. I mean, I don't really, and as far as leadership, here's my question. Do you feel like Black people should have leadership as far as in our community? Should we have a leadership organization?
I believe they should be people in the forefront to do some leadership, but that leadership should be a person who is really about the people. They're not trying to make no money, but we all should be on one accord. In other words, if you are in a leadership position, you should have 3 or 4 or 5 brothers that could take your place if they strike the shepherd. Because what they used to do is strike the shepherd so the sheep can scatter. So they have adopted, okay, well, we killed King. We seen what happened. We made him a martyr. We allowed Malcolm to get killed. We made him a martyr. So we're not trying to make them martyrs anymore. So let's see if we can just corrupt them. Let's see if we can give them money. How Al Sharpton has been exposed or receiving all this money so he won't protest. And that's dirty. Like, you couldn't give me no money to tell me stop protesting.
Yeah. I feel like I actually feel like too, as far as social media, I feel like social media is the new crack epidemic. I feel like all the memes and the little, and this is why I have to kind of question comedy too, because I feel like the way the dominant society has used rap to poison our kids, I think that's what's happening in comedy now. Comedy has always been like that, but I don't think we question it. We raise our eyebrow enough. The only thing we point out is just the black men in dresses and wigs and stuff like that. But we have to understand too, our children, the kids that are coming up now, the young people, their minds are totally poisoned with all the silly stuff that's going on right now because of all the negativity that's going on, because all the platforms that they're going to, it's limited resources for them to really tap into positive things, because all they have is just detrimental things that they can tap into.
Well, I think comedy is good because laughter, is definitely a medicine. And it just depends on how you do it, and are you just really selling out, or doing it for yourself. I joke around too, like everybody else. I mean, I love to joke around. I even have my little channel that do that. Okay, and that's fine. That started off because the people request me to do something that's not so serious 24/7. I can do that just for fun. So there's nothing wrong with that. It just, the thing is, as long as we are in control of it. Because you mentioned hip hop. The problem with hip hop is you had white and Jewish people took over that genre of music. Bill Clinton signed a telecom bill, and black radio stations literally became non-existent. They start controlling what music came in there. So it went from a conscious music to this trash that we have today, unfortunately. And that's why they pollute that. They don't set up music out to their community talking about raping and killing and drug dealing and all this other stuff. They don't do that. Okay. But in our community, that's okay. And we have to look at that. My thing is, music is fine, but we have to do it independently, so they don't have control of it. Because think about it, if a guy does music and he sell his album and sell like 1 million record sales, well, he keeps all the money because the record labels rape you. And Prince had showed you that, and Michael Jackson was smart on some things too. And then if you be smarter than them, mysteriously you come up dead. So why fool with them? Prince get his masters back, and all of a sudden he end up dead. Michael Jackson, he owns half of Sony and own the Beatles, and all of a sudden he ends up dead.
I agree with that. I think that where I was coming from as far as the comedy thing, I feel like that they're polluting the comedy game as far as it's just like what we said as far as you don't agree with it either. I don't either. We don't have to be a part of the whole one black person at a time. But I feel like what they're doing is, it was something that Tariq said a while ago. He said the money is in the cooning.
Oh, it always have been.
And that's what I mean by that as far as comedy. I feel like the kids nowadays, especially nowadays, we feel like that we have to buck dance our way up and do all kinds of things that are detrimental to our career. And that's what white people, that's what they want. They want that kind of stuff so they can put that on television, so they could, prep you up, give you the money that you need, and they can make all the money off of you. I feel like the Chappelles and the Chris Rocks, those are the types of people that they don't really want to take over the industry like that, because at a certain point, Chappelle had to pull out. He had to pull out because he was staying true to himself. And I feel like that was the only conflict that he had with Comedy Central, because at the end of the day, Comedy Central was white owned. He was putting out content that he wanted to put out 95% of the time or 90% of the time, but it got to a point where they were kind of like pulling it back, saying, all right, you're getting a little popular, we can't really let you do it like that because you're getting too real, you like a Richard Pryor. And I feel like they don't want cats like those taking over the game of comedy as far as black people, because what that's going to do is that's going to wake up a whole generation of it. And that's why it's a handful of black people that, you know, really truly, well I would say a lot of black people that respect people like Dave Chappelle, but at the same time, it's almost probably over 60% of people, kids walking around that feel like putting on a wig or buck dancing is the only way to make it in Hollywood and make it in comedy. And what that's doing is that's influencing other kids and other people amongst your color to do what you do because they want to make a buck, because they want to get out of their situation.
Yeah, but see, what we have to do is, number one, show them that's not the way to go. Don't be licking up massa every chance you get, trying to get in the house. But one thing I've noticed in the society, see, with this current climate we have right now, these lines are being drawn in the sand. And every day these Charles Barkley types and these Stacey Dash types are starting to get exposed. Like recently, Roger Ailes from Fox News is being one of the people in a lawsuit, a big sexual harassment lawsuit. And it came out that he called Stacey Dash the black girl. Yeah. You know, like, you know, good and well, you know who she is, but he calls her the black girl. Every time you look up, these coons and coonettes are starting to get exposed. Because you're not, because Massa is not faithful. He's not. He will betray you every time and laugh at you. I had a white nationalist tell me one time that, you know, we'll use black people like that, but we don't trust them, because how can you turn against your own race for somebody else? Yeah. I said, hey, I agree with you.
That's true. That's true. I agree with that.
So we can't, so as long as we don't coon in front of people and show them, you know, you could be successful without cooning, trust me, they don't like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true.
You know, so, you know, brother, like I said, we got to definitely some, you know, a lot of people probably going to definitely want to question you on some things. Where can people find you at if they want to continue the conversation?
You can find me on Spoken Reasons, everything, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I'm mainly on YouTube. I'm going around doing spoken word tours right now. That's pretty much it. The comedy is still around. The spoken word is still around. Got short film. And I also have a movie in the works that I'm currently working on. So everybody can hold tight. I got more bigger things going on in the process, and that's it.
All right. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel as well.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. Really appreciate your invite.
Oh yeah, no problem, brother. We always trying to have good brothers on, good sisters on. It's good to have somebody within YouTube who has made a success for themselves, you know, to definitely speak to our audience. So make sure you go to his social media, check him out, send him a line, subscribe to his channel, and see you next time.